We're going to do things a little differently today. I'm kind of just sitting back in my easy chair, and we're going to take a look at a couple different flavors of a distro. If you go through my channel and look at all the videos that I've done on Linux operating systems, I have done some interesting operating systems. But this one I think is the up-and-comer, with the Manjaros of the world kind of going corporate and not looking out for the user and really not concentrating on the community to help them make a better operating system. I think this one is the one that's really going to overtake Manjaro in the future and become the prime Arch distribution out there, along with your Endeavors and your Arch Linux. We're going to look at two different flavors of Garuda Linux today. We're going to look at the XFCE flavor and the LXQt flavor. That's what we're covering on Ebuzz Central. Today's video is brought to you by the Ebuzz Central store. If you haven't had a chance to zip on over and check it out, please do. We got a lot of great merch over there, a lot of great Linux theme merch. If you find something you like, go ahead and pick it up. And if you would like to see something on the store that's not there, please drop that in the comments below and we'll do our best to get it up there for you. We are presently at the Garuda XFCE desktop. And if you download Garuda, throw it on a USB, put it into a virtual machine, this is the screen you're met with. Now, like I said, today we're looking at the XFCE and the LXQt. One of the reasons I like these two flavors is because it's not as bright or as neon as the KDE version. Now, the LXQt does have some neon in it, but it's a little bit more subdued, and we'll look at that here in a moment. But when you boot into it, this is the screen you're met with. You're met with the Garuda welcome screen. And I love this for the simple fact that if you're new to Linux or if you're new to the distribution in and of itself, it kind of gives you some step-by-step things and gives you some information right off the bat that makes your computing experience a lot easier. Now, if you go up here, first thing you have is Garuda Assistant. If you click on it, it opens this up. You've got maintenance, BTRFS and snapper, system components, settings, system specs, and other diagnostics. You can go down here on maintenance. You've got system update, refresh your mirror list. Now, I recommend that if you do download Garuda, install the operating system, that before you start installing any kind of applications or software, zip on over to the Garuda Assistant and go ahead and refresh your mirrors. You want to refresh your key rings as well. And then you can reinstall all packages, remove database lock, remove orphans, clear caches. And then you can also come down here and reset configurations for a lot of popular applications. Now, if you go up here, you've got the BTRFS and snapper. And it's been moved to a new application called the BTRFS Assistant, and you can launch it right here. So if you launch that, this comes up, and you can pretty much adjust anything in here in your device. Now, I am in a virtual machine, so it's not going to give me that option, but right here it would go down and let you adjust the settings on your hard drive or your SSD, depending on what you have. Then you can come over here and look at your sub volumes, and then of course your snapper settings for what you would like to take a snapshot of. For those of you not familiar with snapper, once you get your system set up the way you want, you just zip on over here into Snapper, take yourself a new snapshot, and then should you have any problems in the future, you can come back over here, restore from a snapshot, and return your system to the way it was prior to you having any issues. I'm going to go ahead and close out of this, and we will back up and close out of this. Now you go over to System Components. Right here is where you can install a lot of different applications or components that you want. So let's say you wanted Pulse Audio instead of Pipewire. You could uncheck that, click Pulse. Then you could go over here. Let's say you want a VirtualBox, Firewall D, Samba support. You could check all these components that you want, and once that's done, you can come down here and click Apply. It'll apply it, it will put them on your system, and then you'll want to do a restart, especially if you switch from Pipewire to Pulse Audio, because what you want to do is go ahead and restart the system so it can go ahead and boot up with the Pulse Audio as opposed to Pipewire. Then if you go over here, you've got settings. You've got your default shell here is Bash. Now you can change this to Fish or SH or ZSH, whatever you might want. And then of course you've got different common settings, performance tweaks, and power save tweaks that you can change down here. Once you have that selected, go ahead and click Apply. I don't think it's necessary, but generally I will do a restart at this point. And then your system specs, you can scroll through this and it'll show you everything that you have, your CPU, GPU, and give you the specifications on your system. And then of course other diagnostics. So what we're going to do is go ahead and close out of this. back over to the welcome, you've got Garuda Settings Manager. Let's go ahead and open that up. And right here, you can adjust hardware configuration. You can change your kernel if you would like to, but because we are in a live mode, it won't let me do that. Right now, we're running on the 5.15.31-1. I know we are presently at kernel number 5.17, I do believe, but this is the long-term support that comes out of the box with Garuda, so I would just leave that alone. So let's go ahead and close out of that. Then you've got Garuda Gamer. This is another thing that I really like. Let's go ahead and move this over here, and let's go ahead and maximize it so it's easier for you to see. If you are a gamer and you want to add different applications to your system, you can come over here and do it at one fell swoop. Let's say you wanted Steam, Steam Runtime, and Steam Native. You can go ahead and do those. Play on Linux, you want to add that. Wine Tricks, Wine, Proton Tricks, Proton GE Custom. Let's say you wanted to go ahead and add bottles. You can just come down here and pick everything that you wanted. You can even add Discord here. You've got VLC over here, OBS, Streamlink for Twitch. Come down here and pick everything that you want. Once you have it selected, go ahead and click Apply. Now, like I said, it's not necessary, but I would definitely do a restart at this point in time. Let's go ahead and do games. Over here, you've got different games that you can download, okay? And then you've got different emulators. If you wanted to go with RetroArch, you could do that. Dolphin emulator, PCSX2 for PlayStation. You got Atari for Atari, and then Mupen, Gen for Sega, Genesis. So you've got different emulators that you can use over here. So that's just something else if you're a gamer and you want to add that to your system. And then you've got Garuda Network Assistant right here. Should you be having any issues or you want to tweak your Wi-Fi or your network settings, Garuda Boot Options, and then Garuda Boot Repair. You've got your Partition Manager right here. Then you have Add and Remove Software. If you're somebody that likes using the terminal, you can continue to do that. But if you're somebody that wants a graphic user interface for your software, you can come right here to Add and Remove Software. Now, out of the box, if I click on it, it won't open because once you install it or run it on a live USB, it'll actually refresh itself and you can come back to Add and Remove Software. Now, what I do want to try is if I go back to the Garuda Assistant, will it let us refresh mirrors? I'm going to go ahead and just stick with the presets. And we'll see if we refresh the mirrors, if at that point we'll be able to open the Add and Remove Software, because I've never been able to. It's just PayMac. If you're used to using PayMac on, let's say, Manjaro, or you've installed it on Endeavor or an operating system like that, same thing you're going to have here. So if you're used to PayMac, that is what you'll get inside of Garuda Linux. And it is almost done refreshing mirrors. And we're good to go. I'll go ahead and save that. And we will close out, press enter to exit. And now I'm going to switch on over and see if we can do this. Let's close and let's go to Add and Remove Software. Doesn't let us do it. But you all know what PayMac is, so you're good to go there. Then you've got a System Cleaner, Quick Access, Restore Snapshot, or chroot. And then if you come over to links, you can go directly to their website, their wiki. There's the chaotic AUR. If you click on it, it doesn't come up either. So once you install this system, you'll be able to have access to all of that. And then, of course, it's going to open up when you go there and let you know what the chaotic AUR is. First, install the primary key. Then you can append it. It's easy. Gives you easy steps on what you need to do there so that you can have the AUR available inside of Garuda. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of Firefox. Then you want to contact them. You got a forum, Element, GitLab, Telegram, Twitter, and then, of course, their web services. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of this. And I love this XFCE desktop. It's a little bit subdued. You know, some XFCEs are kind of bright, and I'm not really into the bright look. I like darker themes, but that's just me. You may like them bright. You may like it white, but that's no issue there. So I'm going to go ahead. We've already looked at Firefox. We're going to go ahead and open up the file manager. And as you can see right here, you've got the Thunar file manager. You got your usual suspects over here, your home folders right here. So it's a really quick, lightweight file manager that lets you get things done. And then your typical XFCE panel. And then if you right click here, you can go to desktop settings. If you wanted to change your background, you could. I like the one that's already there. So you get quite a few different Garuda themed backgrounds. But that's a general overview of Garuda XFCE. Now what we're going to do is we're going to switch on over to the LXQt desktop. And as you can see with the LXQt, you get a little bit more of a neon look as opposed to the subdued look that you get in XFCE. Still not as bright and resource intensive as the KDE version, but what I do notice is right off the bat, it booted up with no wallpaper. So let's go ahead and right click, go to desktop preferences, and let's browse for a wallpaper. Select color background. Okay, let's wallpapers. And I'm not seeing any wallpapers. So let's go over here real quick. That's odd. Let's go ahead and open up the internet browser, which is FireDragon. It's Garuda's own web browser. I do believe it's based on Firefox, but it comes with a lot of extensions for security. You've got dark mode, dark readers, what they call it. I'm just going to go over here and look up wallpapers. So you get Google as the primary search engine. It's Google without all the tracking, and it's pretty much Garuda's own version. Let's go ahead and just look up wallpapers. Okay, that opened up. Let's go ahead and right click that. Background, browse. We'll go with that one and apply. There we go. We have a background. Now that's odd. I'll have to look at my download and see if something went wrong with my download, because for some reason it didn't download any wallpapers. But that is a pretty wallpaper that we have right there. And as you can tell, you do have transparency on your dock, and you do have transparency over here on your panel. One of the things I do like about LXQt is that it is quite light. It's not as heavy as something like a KDE or a GNOME, but it still gives you that professional feel. It still gives you that high quality feel, if you know what I mean. Now, if you look right here, we just looked at the Garuda welcome in the previous flavor of Garuda, which was XFCE, and you get the same options here. I'm not going to go over those again. I'm going to go ahead and close out of this, and we're going to look around just a little bit. If you come down here to the dock, you've got Alacrity, you've got FireDragon, which we just saw, you've got the PC Man file manager, you got Stacer. I love Stacer. This tool right here, I think, is probably my favorite system monitor, because it gives you right off the bat your CPU, your memory, and your disk usage. And then you can come down here. You've got startup applications. If you've got applications that are starting when you boot your system and you don't want them to, you can zip right over here, turn them on or off right here. It has a conky. If you wanted to turn that on for reboot, you could just click on here, and the next time it booted up, you would actually have your conky that would pop up. Then over here, you can do a cleanup, package cache, crash reports, application logs, application caches, or your trash. If you wanted to clear all of those at once, you could just come over here and do that. Or you could select all, unselect all, and then you could go through and actually do a clean. Then you've got your search, and then you've got your system services. You've got 114 in total, and it shows you over here which ones have started or which ones are starting at boot. So it gives you options, which ones are running and which ones run at boot, then your startup status or running status. Then your processes that are running in the background, and then the total packages you have on the system. We have 1,161, and then the history of your CPU. I only have 2 CPUs issued to this machine, so they're running anywhere from 30 to 40%. And then, of course, your history of your disk read or write, and then the history of CP load averages. And then you can come down here, you've got host manage helper, and then your settings. So I do recommend that if you do download LXQt Garuda, go ahead and zip on over and take a look at Stacer. I think it's a great tool to have on your system. So we will close out of that. And what I do like is if you look at the dock down here, like when I had Stacer open, it's got a nice little light under it, shines up on it to let you know what applications are open. So that way, should you minimize it, you know that it's running in the background and you can open it right back up. Go ahead and close out of that. Then you've got Speed Crunch, you've got LX Image, MPV Player, Audacious, System Monitor, Monitor Settings, your LXQt Configuration Center. Now, if you open that up, you can pull that over here, and you've got a lot of different options you can do here. Let's just go ahead and maximize it. You've got appearance, brightness, date and time, kernel, hardware configuration, your login screen. Now, I did, when I booted into this, have to put in a password to get past the login screen. Password's just Garuda, all lowercase. And then of course your Garuda settings manager, and it will show KDE system settings because it is using KWin and it's LXQt, so it's based on that environment. So your settings page is going to look real familiar. Okay, you're going to have a lot of different options if you're used to having a KDE environment like Breeze Dark. You can change your themes all here at once. Right now we're running Dracula, which I like, and you can go download new themes if you want to as well, new icon sets and things like that. I don't think LXQt gets enough recognition because it is a great desktop manager. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of the settings, and then you do have power off. And then if you come up here, it shows you all the applications that you have installed out of the box. You've got LX Image, Internet, you've got Fire Dragon, which we already looked at, Office, Programming, Sound and Video. You got your Pulse Audio Volume Control, System Tools. You've got a lot of different tools here. Install Garuda, Pace, QTerminal, Setup, System Monitor, HTOP, and Octopi. Pacman database is missing. You may need to synchronize your database. That's what I was talking about in the previous flavor. We need to refresh our mirrors. But this is where you would come to install applications and software. Octopi is definitely a great tool. And if you've never used it, I suggest when you download Garuda, if you go with the LXQt flavor, go ahead and open up Octopi in a live environment and kind of get used to it. A lot of people get put off because they think Arch distributions are so hard, or if they're not put together for you like in Ubuntu, you can't use it. You really can. It doesn't take that long to learn Octopi. So take that time, get a little bit of education at the same time, because you can have a beautiful desktop environment and the tools along with it you'll know how to use. Come back over here, you've got preferences, you've got about LXQt, leave, lock screen, and of course your search. But that was a quick look at Garuda, XFCE, and LXQt. What do you think? Is Garuda the Arch distro that's pretty much going to take over Manjaro's spot? Because I truly believe Manjaro's on a downslope. If you disagree with me, let me know in the comments below. I think both of these operating systems, and whatever flavor you choose, are great. I think they will serve you well. I think they will let you do whatever you need to do on a Linux distribution. Make sure if you get a chance to zip on over to the Ebuzz Central Store and check it out. We got a lot of great Linux merch over there. And like I said, if you see something you like, go ahead and pick it up. If you want to see something on the store that's not there, let us know in the comments below, and we will do our best to get it on there. Do me a favor before you leave today. Please like, subscribe, or follow the channel. It doesn't cost anything, and if you end up not liking me, you can always unsubscribe. If you want to support the channel, like Mislav Mitchell, Matthew, Cato, Mike, R. Eugene, and the Nitrix development team, you can become a member to the channel, buy us a cup of coffee, zip on over to PayPal and give us a donation, or maybe go to Patreon and become a patron to the channel. Those links will be in the description below. Thank you for watching my video, and I will see you in the next video.